Guys, welcome back to another edition of That Fuzz and Rock Show interviews. And man, we got a good one for you today. Let me bring you into the stream and welcome to the show, Mr. Tim Hansen from Induction. How are you, brother? Good to see you. It's good to see you. And listen, man, first off, I want to take time to thank you for giving up your time to hang out with us today. Definitely appreciate that, my man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Really cool. Dude, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
I've done one of those Streamlab or StreamYard streams before, and it's a super cool application. Really cool thing.
Yeah, it's very, awesome. Very easy to use. That's why I love it so much, man.
Super handy.
Yeah, definitely. So listen, man, I'm not going to take a lot of your time. We're gonna talk about the new album coming out, and we're gonna talk about the band. But first off, we're here to talk about the new release. It's Born from Fire, due out November 25th on Atomic Fire Records. And we'll get to that in just a little bit. Let's talk about you and the band for a little bit. When did you guys first get there? When did you guys first get together, and how did you guys get together?
Yeah, great question. So Induction was formed all the way back then in, I think it was 2014 already. It's a long time ago, and it started out more as like an unofficial project type of thing. And the original founding member, Martin, from the Czech Republic, he started out as this kind of project. Well, let's see how it goes. And then he made the first single with a bunch of session musicians, one of them being the legendary guitarist Teemu Mentisari from Wintersun. And well, the single got a lot of traction. So then when I joined, that's when it really became a band with the first album. And yeah, super exciting. So we built that up and we went on tour. And then sadly, after that album already, with the COVID pandemic, there's been some difficulties. So the lineup disbanded. And now I collected a new bunch of amazing people. And we're releasing Born from Fire very soon. The second album.
Man, can't wait for sure. So let's talk about the others in the band. It's you have Craig Cairns on vocals, Marcos Rodriguez on guitar. Dominic's on bass. We got two Dominics now. You got
yeah.
And listen, if I mispronounce his name, I apologize. But Dominic Gush on bass. All right, I got that one right. Good. And Dominic Zester on the drums. You, of course, on the guitar. So how are these guys different from the original lineup? Like, is it a completely different sound or?
Absolutely not. I mean, the sound direction already for the first album, it was pretty much what I envisioned, and I made sure that when I look for new guys that they love pretty much exactly what I have in mind for the band. For Born from Fire, I wrote pretty much all the songs. So the guys that joined, they very much align with what we want to sound like with Induction, and they're a strong bunch. I got together with them via the audition. When we were looking, we just posted about it, and we're like, hey, we need some people, and some of them, Dom, namely, he came in and just recorded some videos of him playing, and was like, okay, cool, awesome, let's meet up and see how it is. And with Craig, for example, that was a much more funny story. Him I met, I was in touch with close to 100 singers just to find the right guy.
Wow.
I was extremely, I was extremely picky with who I want to work with and what kind of voice I want for Induction. And there's been a lot of good ones, but I think there's a big difference between good singers and great singers, and I wanted to have a great one. And for me personally, with Craig, I got a great one. And I eventually was very desperate and was sitting in my room one evening with a friend of mine, like, damn, I just cannot find the right guy. It's like, hey, have you looked on Fiverr? It's like a freelance place where people offer their services. And I was like, well, no, I haven't. So I just literally typed in metal singer, and pretty far at the top there was Craig. I was like, looks promising. I got in touch with him and he absolutely nailed it. So it was kind of funny how that came to be with him then. Yeah.
So after all those auditions with the 100 singers, like when he came and auditioned, did you just know, or you're like, that's it?
Yeah, pretty much. He sang one of the previous songs, "A Nightmare's Dream," which has like a really intricate and nice vocal arrangement, and I already thought there, wow, okay, that's definitely the best of all of them. Like really powerful and strong, you know.
Mhm.
And what really took it all home was when I let him write some vocals on "Sacrifice." So I just gave him the demo without the vocals, and he kind of did his thing. And there I could hear, like, I mean, there he was more in like his element, right? He did the vocal lines and everything, and yeah, that really convinced me then.
Nice. So let's talk about influences. What are some of your influences getting into music and stuff like that?
That's a good question. Well, I'm influenced by a lot of things, and I draw inspiration from a lot of places that go also beyond music. Also, like a lot of things in life also inspire me. But
Sure.
talking about music, some of the bands that I really love are like, for example, Children of Bottom, obviously, Halloween. I like the new Beast in Black stuff, or the old one for that matter as well. Battle Beast as well, you know, these like super catchy and headbang melodies.
Sure.
Symphony X is amazing. I like Nightwish. There's so many bands that I like, but I'm really much into black metal. Some of the early Dissection albums are really cool. Emperor. So I can ramble on forever about that, but the point being, I think that I'm able to take inspiration from a lot of different places and put them into a sound that works with induction and puts it into the right context. And I would be excited to see or to hear from the people listening to the album if they can discover some of the influences. And I think one on there is very obvious because it's also a tribute to Alexei. The song "Embers," which I wrote right after he passed, is kind of my tribute to him because he was a great hero to me.
Sure.
And I was very shocked to hear about his passing. So this song I dedicated to him, and it really has that Children of Bottom vibe as well.
So are there any new bands out that kind of caught your ear so far?
Yes, very recently, as you might know, we produced our album with the great Jacob Hansen.
Yes.
He did the mix and master, and I think he absolutely nailed it. It's beyond massive. And I knew about another band from my hometown, Hamburg, for a longer time as well, but never really had them on the radar. And they recently released a new single called "The Scarlet Banners," and then their new album. The band is called Terra Atlantica, and they do symphonic power metal just like we do with Induction. And they, as it turns out, they also produced this album with Jacob Hansen, and I gave it a listen, and I really enjoyed it. I think they did an amazing job. Their previous releases have been really cool as well, but this one really was top notch to me. So I guess those are a bit more underground, but one of the ones that I really enjoyed. Then beyond that, of course, Megadeth released an album this year. Blind Guardian released an album. So there's lots of cool stuff out this year. I think the Sabaton album was also this year, which I really liked, the new one.
Yeah, I think the pandemic was kind of a blessing in disguise for music, because a lot of great music is coming out of that whole era of, that whole time frame, I guess you'd call it. We're getting a lot of killer music, which, leave a musician with too much time on their hands, and they're going to write. That's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's go back a bit with you guys. Some of the older stuff. 2015 was the first single, "Far Beyond the Horizon." 16 was the Outwitted Consecration, I believe. You had the Induction album in 2019, and then coming around now. It's Born from Fire. 2 singles off that have come out is one of them, Sacrifice, which is killer tune. Tell us a little bit about Sacrifice.
Come again?
Tell us a little bit about Sacrifice.
Oh, right. So yeah, Sacrifice was basically the song that we decided to put out first for not only the reason that it's a killer track, but also it was a really cool segue into into presenting the new lineup. The orchestration was like, logistically, we had the orchestration done as well already. So the whole song was kind of, well, it's finished. We just need the vocals. So we used that song kind of to audition with some singers and already seeing, how would they actually fit right into the induction context. And as I just told, like, Craig wrote something on it. And then after we decided, okay, we're going to go and work with him, that's when we refined everything and kept working at it. And Sacrifice was I think that, like, a really, really nice nice start into what Induction now is. Like, it has still a lot of the progressive elements from the first album, but also a lot more of the catchy ones, like with the chorus and everything. And I think it's a super fun track and a good choice for the first one to release.
And the second single is Queen of Light, and that one caught my ear immediately. Killer tune. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Queen of Light was one of the very, very early ones that I started writing for this album, and it went through a lot of changes. I changed the main riff like 4 or 5 times, and originally it had this like very different 80s kind of style feel to it, which now is this like fast-paced 16th note power metal riff. And it was originally called the Moonwalker, I think. And the idea for the chorus was there very early on. I had the melody kind of in my mind, and then with a friend of mine, I sat down and we were kind of working at the vocals, and he had some ideas for the lyrics in the verse, and then everything just came together. And after a lot of like back and forth with the arrangement, we ended up with what is the song today.
Yeah, that's a killer track. That one really, really caught my ear. I know we talked about the pandemic real quick. Let's just get back to that real quick. So aside from like touring and live shows and stuff like that, how did the pandemic affect your band?
Well, I mean, as you know, we had a like whole new lineup during the pandemic, or
Right.
I was looking for a whole new lineup. For me personally, if I'm just talking about the pandemic and Induction, I think we would have disbanded anyways with the current lineup, the previous lineup, sorry, because after the first tour, we had to sit down and talk about visions and everything. We just noticed, well, what Induction needs right now demands a lot more attention and time. So that just couldn't happen with the people at the time. So if I'm being totally honest, in a way, the pandemic came just at the right time for us, because it gave me the resources, like mainly time, to look for the perfect fit of people and write a lot of songs and really make sure that, well, I'm taking a step back now, and then when we come back with full power. And that's exactly what happened in January, or actually was it February? I don't remember. When we put out all the news, signed with Atomic Fire, new single, new lineup, there's Marcus Rodriguez, there's this amazing singer. So a lot of cool news all at once, and that's exactly what I wanted, just take it easy and then come back with everything at once.
Gotcha. So let's talk about this new release, Born from Fire. It's going to be out November 25th. It's on Atomic Fire Records. 12 tracks, start to finish, high energy metal. And just, I mean, from track 1 comes out swinging. How long did it take you to write this? Like, how long did it take to write all the music for this?
Well, let's think about it like this. I started writing with the third album in mind right after the first album released. So
Mhm.
roughly it's 3 years, but I guess 50% of the, or like, let's say, yeah, a little bit less than 50%, maybe 30% of the songs that I started and basically finished didn't make it on the album. I like to have the the opportunity to choose
Sure.
for what I can go, and in this case, most of the songs that I started writing much later ended up on the album. And I guess the whole process of writing was maybe like, let's say 2 years or something.
Mhm.
Because you have to keep in mind, even when all the songs are done, then there's another full process of like revisions and making pre-productions and then actually recording everything. So to the final product, I guess like 2.5 years or something, roughly. Yeah.
And how long did it take to record it? Was it fairly quick to record it, or did you guys like, were you guys all in the same spot recording it, or was it sent to this guy, sent to this guy, sent to this guy? How'd that
Yeah.
work?
Well, this time we did it pretty similar as we did with the first album, which is that we recorded bass and guitars at home. And I kind of took my time with the guitars. I made sure that I just practiced the songs very well, which I actually didn't do on the first album. I just went at it and then I practiced the part and then I played the part.
Gotcha.
That's kind of what I did on the first album. This time around, I was able to play the whole album before I actually recorded it, and then just I started. When did I start? I think last year, towards fall, I started with the guitars, something
Mhm.
like that, and then we did the bass and the drums. We did in Spain, which
Wow.
was quite a nice experience. So we actually flew out from Germany to a whole different country to record the drums, which was super cool and like very, very nice to get like a little distance from the usual life and just focus fully on the studio work. As for the vocals, we once again worked with Eike Frese, who did the first album, which was very important to me because I know that Eike is someone that is able to get every last inch of magic out of you in the studio, and that's
Right.
exactly what happened. I think if you know our singer Craig from before, you're gonna hear him the best you ever heard him on this album, because we really managed to push it to the limit and gave it all our all.
That shows in the finished product too. I'm, not gonna lie, it's an amazing album. So now I don't have a picture of it, and I wasn't sure if I could or couldn't show it, so I didn't
Mhm.
upload it or anything. But who did the artwork for this, for the cover?
Yeah, the artwork is done by Peter Schallei. That's the same guy that is doing Sabaton, Powerwolf, Brothers of Metal. He did as well. Super super cool dude. Really nice person and amazing artist. And the way that went was really quite simple. I have a problem, which is that as soon as I start going into very specific details and very specific imaginations of how I want things or how I imagine things,
Mhm.
it's extremely hard to satisfy me. So this time I was like, okay, I learned from the first album. I learned from other artworks that I have created with other people. I'm just going to have a rough idea. That's it. So I told Peter, hey, listen, we got the album title. It's Born from Fire. We need the pharaoh, and I kind of picture him like coming out of the ground in this like heroic pose, very strong and
Mhm.
powerful. And boom, a few days later he just sent me the first preview. I was like, well, that's it, amazing, let's work on that. And that's how we ended up with the final product.
Just like that. Wow, that's pretty awesome. So let me ask you this, dude. Let's talk about your writing process for a minute, because you did say
Mhm.
you wrote excuse me, most of the songs. Tell me about your writing process. How does it go from something that
Mhm.
the universe just sends to you, and how does it go from that to finished product?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm working on a song literally right now. So let me think how that one started. I mean, I usually I grab my guitar, you know, I'm just playing a little bit and I come up with some riffs, and you know, then it just happens, you know. I do everything like kind of at once, you know. When I write songs, I don't write it like only on the guitar. I'm in my Logic DAW, digital audio workstation, for those who don't know what it is, and I arrange all the instruments at once, meaning the drums, the bass, and well, the guitars. And I even start thinking about vocals already very early on, arranging some orchestration. So I kind of start out with maybe a chorus idea, maybe some idea for a riff, and then as I just keep at it, it just develops, you know. I start thinking about, well, now what do I want to do for the verse? How can I make a good transition to the chorus? And I'm like, well, the chorus kind of, it doesn't open up, so I erase everything and I start again. And you know, it's a process that is very, it takes a lot of time sometimes, you know, and in other times it can go very fast, you know. It kind of depends on the song, but usually it starts off with like just some random idea, you know. The other day I was in the train, and it just kind of came to me, this idea for like a chorus. Like I cannot sing it right now because I would be teasing it, but
Right.
so I just opened my project and started somehow writing it down, how to do it. And then as soon as I got home, I grabbed the guitar and started recording. So yeah.
So now, as a guitarist, are you like a gear guy? Do you have like 1,000 guitars and, you know, all these amps, or do you kind of stick with, you know, your main and a couple backups? Or like, are you a gear guy, or are you kind of loyal to one or two?
I'm extremely I'm very digital. I'm not very like analog so much. I don't like playing amps because I love amps, don't get me wrong, but they're extremely impractical because they only sound like very good if you put them on a very high volume, unless you're using like a load box, which is also extremely expensive, and then it's like annoying to me. So I go all digital. I use Fractal Audio, which is at the XFX 3, which is like a modeling amp, and it has endless possibilities. So pretty much live on stage, I just have this unit. It's a free hide unit, like kind of like this, in my rack, and everything like this, the sound switches as well. I can automate it all so that on the stage I can literally just focus on playing and nothing else. Like everything else is done by the unit and the automation. Wow. It's super useful, and I can just focus on, you know, rocking and having fun.
Absolutely.
I don't like having to be on stage, and then if I'm over here and I'm like, oh shit, I have to press my pedal, which is over here, so I run there. Yeah, I don't like that. So I very early on started looking into these kinds of options, and sound wise, I mean, I don't have the best ear in the world. I think I have a pretty decent ear when it comes to sound, but I cannot hear a difference anymore between digital and analog. So yeah.
Well, I think as long as you're comfortable with it, that's the best gear in the world for you. You know, I guess that kind of makes sense that way. So I mean, I know you guys are on tour. You guys are doing a tour in Europe in November and December. Is there any plans to come across the ocean to the US for a tour, or?
Well, if there were solid plans right now, then I would tell you, but there's no solid plans right now. So as you know, touring at the moment is extremely hard and expensive, especially the US is. So I believe we're still a little way off from actually coming over there. But who knows? It really depends on how this album performs. If we see that it kind of blows up and the people buy it and the people want it, then it will happen sooner rather than later. The biggest difference that can be made is if the demand is there, and that's what I'm really hoping for, is that people will buy and pre-order the album. Actually, also the vinyl would be great, so that we can get started much earlier on some of these things.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So as far as touring goes, do you have a favorite venue to play?
No, I don't. I haven't been on tour so much that I could tell you that yet. I mean, there's a lot of like smaller venues that I played, but the real cool ones are usually the bigger ones, right? Right now, I don't really have a favorite. Yeah.
I wish I could remember the name of.
Well, I know there's like some okay. What about the club though? What's the thing about it?
I mean, it's basically just the vibe of it, and that they're well taken.
Like one of them is really kind of crappy, but everyone plays there always because it's just like such a cold club kind of. The logo, it's called. We're playing there as well when we play in Hamburg on this tour. So that's one of the ones I had immediately in mind. But yeah, sorry, let's keep going.
I'll have to write it up. I'll have to write that and just stick it on somewhere so that I have it for the next time it comes out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here for a couple questions. It's nothing too taxing, believe me. So do you or anybody else in the band have any weird like pre-show rituals other than like warming up? Obviously you guys got to warm up and stuff, but is there any like pre-show rituals you guys have to do before you go on stage?
But weird ones.
Well, I mean, it could be anything really, but I mean, the weird ones are what people want to hear. Obviously people are interested in stuff like that, but
yeah. No, I mean, it's nothing to say on camera, right? Like here, it's very weird. No, I'm just kidding. For me personally, I cannot remember that I have like any like ritual or something. For me, it's mainly just warming up, But I guess maybe eventually throughout the years something will develop. Of course, there's always the let's do this, let's rock.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Motivating each other and maybe taking a peek at the audience already, getting excited and riled up. But usually for me, I don't have like any particular ritual. Yeah.
All right, let's try this one. So you're going on tour. You're only allowed to bring 3 albums with you to listen to. Which ones would you bring?
I hate these kind of questions.
The third one is always the hardest. Just saying. You can always pass on it if you don't want to answer. That's fine too.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring Hatebreeder from Children of Bodom.
All right, that's
gonna be the first one. I guess Beast in Black's second album I would bring. What's it called? From Hell with Love.
Mm-hmm. The third one's tough, man. The third one's always the toughest.
You know what? I'm gonna choose something that is not metal.
All right.
I'm gonna choose Drunk from Thundercat. I don't know if you know Thundercat, but
I've heard the name before, but that's a good choice for sure.
Yeah, I think I listen to. I mean, I listen to so much music, and I think that if I had only 3 albums, it also depends on how long the tour is. But I would have to like also get something for a different vibe eventually.
Now, that's not to say that the other guys don't get 3 albums you guys can trade. Never said that, but I mean,
well then
you'll never be bored. That's for sure. So, do you have anything else you want to tell the folks before we wrap up, bud?
No, I'm extremely happy. Again, I just want to mention that obviously we're going to try our very best to come to the US as soon as possible. But right now, I already see like some of the insights and statistics, and I see that a lot of people that listen to us actually from the US. So I really want to go there and meet everyone that's there. I like to be in very close touch with all the fans, and I hope to see everyone there very soon. And of course, my biggest hope right now, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be like that, is that everyone's going to enjoy Born from Fire and have a ton of fun with the songs.
Absolutely, man. They won't be disappointed. So the new album, Born from Fire, it's from the band Induction. It's going to be out November 25th on Atomic Fire Records. Check your streaming platforms for availability. Also, check out Facebook and Instagram. It's Induction Official, at Induction Official. Twitter is at Induction_OFF. And inductionofficial.com. Also check out atomicfirerecords.com. Their Facebook and Insta is at Atomic Fire Records, and their Twitter is Atomic Fire REC. Tim, dude, it's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with us. I wish you nothing but the best on this album and the tour. And get your ass over here to the US, man. We'll hang out. You know what I mean?
For sure, dude. All right, dude. Thank you so much, and enjoy.
Thanks again, Tim. Appreciate it. Bye. Tim Hansen, everybody. Thank you.
What are you people? On dope?